Hi, BookTube, it's Amy, and I'm back again reading from the Anatomy of Bibliomania by Holbrook Jackson. Today we're on page 317 with a section titled The Power of the Poet. A poet, soaring in the high reason of his fancies, with his garland and singing robes around him, is a force, moving mountains, yet so stubborn, immobile as a soul of man. Engines, powers, as some have well said, and I have cited in my preliminary discourse upon the strength of those words and some other collateral assistances. I have run together con amore, and to augment this tale of influences, a garland of opinions and experiences of the power of poetry, the sum of the following discourse being nothing but the sense of these words of Shelley. Poets are the hierophants of an unapprehended inspiration, the mirrors of the gigantic shadows which futurity casts upon the present, the words which express what they understand not, the trumpets which sing to battle and feel not what they inspire, the influence which is moved not but moves. Homer, Virgil, Dante, Shakespeare, their names are eras, epochs, histories, movements. The birth of a poet is the principal event in chronology. They spell mankind and almost prove him, as so many claim on more slender evidence, cousin germain to the gods themselves, nay, nearness to Sappho made a man the equal of the gods. For poetry is not the result of reason nor intellect. It is the flower of magic, not logic. Well may Rogers proclaim that poetry is the language of the gods. For as the poets have made manifest the gods to us, given them a local habitation and a name, so have they aggrandized all power soever for good or ill. They buttress, uphold, exalt. There is some awe mixed with the joy of our surprise, Emerson asserts, when a poet who lived hundreds of years ago says that which lies closest to our own soul, which we also had well nigh thought and said. They are truth and beauty, all we know on earth and all we need to know. And beauty making beautiful old rhyme in praise of ladies dead and lovely knights. Some lines there from Shakespeare sonnets. They are notable teachers. The general end of poetry, Dryden maintains, is to instruct delightfully. In limbo, Dante saluted Homer, Horace, Ovid, and Lucan as the eternal educators of mankind. Petrarch, in an age rude and uncultivated by his tuneful homage to his Laura, refined the manners of the lettered world and filled Europe with love. Our sage and serious poet Spenser, Milton pronounced, a better teacher than Scotus or Aquinas, and there is magic in their words, like the language of the gods, such as of old wise bards employed to make unpolished men their wild retreats forsake, law-giving heroes famed for taming brutes and raising cities with their charming lutes. For rudest minds with harmony were caught, and civil life was by the muses taught. Our footnote pointing us to Edmund Waller. Edmund Waller's upon the Earl of Roscommon. Translation of Horace de Ars Poetica. For truly, as Montaigne advises, philosophy is nothing else but a sophisticated poesy. Whence have these ancient authors all their authorities but from poets? And the first were poets themselves, and in their art treated the same. Plato is but a loose poet. All high and more than humane sciences are decked and enrolled with a little poetical style. They are greater than scientists of all scientists in our poet, the monarch. 500 Sir Isaac Newtons go to the making up of a Shakespeare or Milton. And there is no wonder, for the poet doth not only show the way, but giveth so sweet a prospect into the way, as will entice any man to enter it. Nay, he doth, as if your journey should lie through a fair vineyard, at the first, give you a cluster of grapes, that, full of that taste, you may long to pass farther. And in his passion for the winning of the mind from wickedness to virtue, he will savour his admonishments with sweetness, even as the child is often brought to take wholesome things by hiding them in such other as have a pleasant taste. He comes with a tale which holdeth children from play, and old men from the chimney corner. So it is that men, he concludes, will be glad to hear the tales of Hercules, Achilles, Cyrus, and Aeneas, and hearing them must needs hear the right description of wisdom, valor, and justice, which, if they had been barely, that is to say, philosophically set out, they would swear they'd be brought to school again. They are an improvement upon nature herself, if we are to so believe them, where he asserts that nature never set forth the earth in so rich a tapestry, as diverse poets have done, neither with pleasant rivers, fruitful trees, sweet swelling flowers, nor whatsoever else may make the too much loved earth more lovely. Her world, or rather her world, is brazen, the poets only deliver a golden. Yet it is not the nature of poetry to be merely a part, nor yet a copy of the real world, as we commonly understand that phrase, but to be a world by itself, independent, complete, autonomous. They reproduce the mystery and wonder of life and death. Have I not seen this divine saying in Plato, saith Montaigne, that nature is nothing but an animatical posy? Through the dim purple air of Dante fly those who have stained the world with the beauty of their sin. Well may Gibbon exhort the Spencers, whose nobility had been illustrated and enriched by the trophies of Marlborough, to consider the fairy queen as the most precious jewel of their coronet. Poets are the unacknowledged legislatures of the world, proclaims Shelley, which is well known, and many instances are recorded. If a man were permitted to make all the ballads, he need not care who should make the laws of a nation, saith one, knowing the power of a song. And in this spirit, Lycurgus, the lawmaker of Lacedaemon, sent the poet Thales from Crete to prepare and mollify the Spartan surliness with his smooth songs and odes, the better to plant among them law and civility, for they were museless and unbookish, he saith, minding naught but war. Well may Wordsworth hail them as powers, for ever to be hallowed only less for what we are and what we may become, than nature's self, which is the breath of God, or his pure word by miracle revealed. Some lines there from the Prelude by Wordsworth. For as a modern poet complains, he would be a liar full of imprudence who should dare to say he felt wholly at ease with the awful Milton or Dante, with the dread death march over death of dread Lucretius. Our reverence to those great ones being a religion, genius like love and beauty, a pledge of divinity and the everlasting, and a light, perfected lyric lures us heavenward. No poet, says Frederick Myers, has lain so close to so many hearts as, so Bacon called himself, the chastest poet and royalist, Virgilius Maro, that to the memory of man is known. No word so often as his have sprung to men's lips in moments of excitement and self-revelation, from the one fiery line retained and chanted by the untamable boy, Claudius Albinus, who was to be Emperor of Rome. Arma amens capio nexat ratonus in armis, on our footnote pointing us to the translation. Arms I seize distraught, though there is little sense in taking arms. To the impassioned prophecy of the great English statesman, Pitt, as he pleaded till morning's light for freedom of a continent of slaves. Nosca ubi primus equus oriens ad flavit angelis, illis sera rubens, ascendit lumina vesper. What time the sun at dawn breathes upon us with panting steeds, for them the ruddy glow of eve illumes the sky. And he cites the varied memories which are stirred as we read one line after another from Virgil's own lifetime, down to the political debates of today, on this line, hoc solum nomen quoniam de conjug restat. Our footnote pointing us to the translation of, since this name, guest alone is left from that of husband. The poet's own voice faltered as he read at this, Tu Marcellus, Aris, etc. and our footnote pointing us to thou shalt be Marcellus. Augustus and Octavia melted into passionate weeping. Hear the verse, Infelix simulacrum antque ipsius umbra queruse. Footnote pointing us to the unhappy image and shade of Crusa herself, which Augustine quotes as typical in its majestic rhythm of all the pathos and the glory of pagan art from which the Christian was bound to flee. Then the couplet, Ad hospes contemner ops et te quaca dignum, finge Dio robusque vene non asper aeginus. Our footnote pointing us to dare, stranger, to despise wealth and make thyself also worthy of the god, nor look roughly on our humble state, which Fenelon could never read without admiring tears. Now the line, exoriere eloquius nostris ex ossibus ultor. May some avenger arise from my bones. Filippo Stasi scrawled on his prison wall when he slew himself to avoid worse ill. Then the words, Heu fug crudelis terras, fug litis averum. Ah, flee the cruel land, the greedy shore, which, like a trumpet call, roused Savonarola to seek the things that are above. This line, manibus dat lilila plenis. Fill my hands with lilies. Many, many lines from the Aeneid there, written out in Latin. Dante heard on the lips of the church triumphant at the opening of the paradise of God, and last, though not exhausting the material for such a citation, he recalls the long roll of prophecies sought tremblingly in the monk's secret cell, or echoing in the ears of emperors, Claudius, Hadrian, Severus, etc., from Apollo's shrine, which have answered the appeal made by so many an eager heart to the Virgilian lots, that strains invocation which has been addressed, he believes, to Homer, Virgil, and the Bible alone, the offspring of man's passionate desire to bring to bear on their own lives the wisdom and the beauty which they revered in the past, to make their profits in such wise as they might. Speak from those lips of immemorial speech, if but one word for each. From Meyer's Virgil in Classical Essays. A like testimony Sir Theodore Martin gives of friendly Horace, who has been a manual with men the most diverse in their natures, cultures, and pursuits. Dante ranks him next after Homer. Montaigne knows him by heart. Fenelon and Bossuet never weary of quoting him. La Fontaine polishes his own exquisite style upon his model. Voltaire calls him the best of preachers. Hooker escapes with him in the fields to seek oblivion of a hard life, made harder by a shrewish spouse. Lord Chesterfield confesses that when he talked best, he quoted Horace. To Boileau and Wordsworth he is equally dear. Condorcet dies in his dungeon with Horace by his side. When Gibbon served in the militia, on every march, he says, and every journey, Horace was always in my pocket and often in my hand. And Martin concludes, as it has been, so it is. In many a pocket, where this might be least expected, lies a well-thumbed Horace, and in many a devout Christian heart, the maxims of the gentle, genial pagan find a place near the highest teachings of the greater master. Homer hath consoled others in many ages, and Dante places him first among the bards. Of him the monarch of sublimest song, that o'er the others of an eagle soars. Pope advised, believing as he did that nature and Homer were the same. Be Homer's works your steady and delight, read them by day and meditate by night. Carteret on his deathbed repeated with sonorous emphasis those 6 inspiring lines from the 12th book of the Iliad, for he worshipped and cherished Homer. Ah, friend, he said in the words of Sarpedon, if once escaped from this battle, we were ever to be ageless and immortal, Neither would I fight myself in the foremost ranks, nor would I send thee into the war that giveth men renown. But now, for assuredly 10,000 fates of death do every way beset us, and these no mortal may escape nor avoid. Now let us go forward. The histories and memoirs are full of such accounts, praises and explanations, as all know. And I make this brief garland neither to augment nor to settle or conclude them, but because it would have been less appropriate not to do so, poetry being so high a peak in the range of bookish achievements. More may be added if any man hath a mind to do it. So, to sum it up all, I shall conclude with these words which Montaigne writ of poetry. Whosoever discerneth her beauty with a constant, quick-seeing, and settled look, he can no more see and comprehend the same than the splendour of a lightning flash. It hath no community with our judgment, but ransacketh and raveneth the same. The fury which pricks and moves him that can penetrate her doth also strick and wound a third man, if he hear it either handled or recited, as the adamant stone draws not only a needle, but infuses some of her beauty in the same to draw others. Quoting there from Of Cato the Younger, essays from Secum. But that brings us to the end of that section there on the poets. The next section here is titled Life Imitates Letters, which is, I think, about the same length as this reading here. But we'll turn to that in the next video.